Okay, so this is a huge, big catch-up update one. We're deep into the post-game of 11 now. This game is huge. When Act 2 ended, I was a little surprised when the credits rolled, and then Act 3 started, and I was a bit hesitant about what they wanted us to do, but I'm coming around to it. But that's all I'll say about that for now. And we're all caught up on the Game a Week challenge. I'm not sure where I saw this first, but the idea is very simple. Just beat a game a week. So I just wanted to very quickly go through what I've played so far and then talk about what's next.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done.
Doom 2016. For years, people have been saying how good this is, and with Doom Eternal on the way, it was time to give it a try. Now, I usually stick with looter shooters like Borderlands and Destiny, but I have to say that this was actually really good. Lived up to the hype at least. Really addicting gameplay, and the glory kills, man, they're just fun to see. It's weird how genres affect your mindset. In RPGs, I love to explore the world. In an FPS, forget that. I just want to get to the next fight. So while there's quite a bit of exploring for little secrets you can do in Doom, I just focus on getting to the next arena. Decent story that left me with a lot of questions, interesting characters, and great gameplay. Doom was a good time. Mega Man 11. It's been a really long time since I played a Mega Man game. 5 was my favorite way back when. I used to be really good at these, I think, but this one was rough. The only reason I made it through this game was because of items and perks you can buy with currency dropped by enemies. This one introduced the double gear system, a mechanic that lets you slow time or boost damage. I used the slow time one almost exclusively. Other than that, it's your typical Mega Man game. 8 robot masters to beat, each with their own weakness, and then you take on Wily. A lot of frustration here, but the satisfaction of landing that last hit made it all worth it. Right? Minute. So this was a strange one, in a good way. In Minute, your character picks up a cursed sword that causes him to die every 60 seconds. The mechanic works because any items you found are kept at checkpoints you can reach throughout the game. So it's about exploring this world, solving puzzles in that 60 seconds, and finally breaking the curse. Lots of trial and error, but it's a short, simple game that only takes about an hour to get through. Ori and the Blind Forest. Just like Doom, I picked this one because of the high praise and its coming sequel, Will-O-the-Wisp. And again, the people were right. It's been a long time since I played a metroidvania game, but there's something I really love about them. That progression. Ori starts off with only the basics of movement and combat options, but by the end, he's able to fly through the world with ease. And he looks pretty good doing it. There's an upgrade system, lots of exploration to be done, and a pretty good story. Love the gameplay and aesthetic here. Definitely recommend this one. Gris. Another short one here that looks amazing, and I would say that that's a pretty big part of this game. It's just beautiful. There is a story here that I think you just have to kind of infer a lot about what's going on. But you'll spend a lot of time running through these great looking environments and solving the occasional puzzle. It's one of those games you should try and experience for yourself. Personally, I think it's worth your time. It's just a beautiful game. Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. The second metroidvania I played that I think falls a little short of Ori. It's not bad. I think it's got a great aesthetic as well, and solid gameplay. I really like the incentive to beat bosses without taking a hit. Lots of resets because of that. I did some cheesy things I'm not proud of, but at the end of the day, I got what I wanted. Kinda sounds bad. Another somewhat short one with a light story. What Remains of Edith Finch? The first story-heavy, gameplay-like game I played this batch. It's what people call a walking simulator, and that's fairly accurate. There are plenty of points where you do need to do a bit more than that, but not much. You get a great story about the life and deaths of the Finch family that is told in a really unique way. Each story has its own new take, and I found the game to be very compelling. The Gregory story, man, that was too sad. Final Fantasy. A classic. There are a ton of RPGs I haven't actually beaten that many would consider staples to the RPG genre, and the original Final Fantasy was one of them. Well, not the original exactly, this is the Game Boy Advance port, and it's really surprising to me how well it holds up. You get a light class system that you even get to upgrade towards the end. There's some time travel here, which I'm not a fan of, but it's still a good game. I'd like to look at Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest III one day, since they were both originally released in Japan around the same time, but we'll see. A Plague Tale: Innocence. So of all the games in this little recap, I've been trying to decide which one was my favorite. It's between Doom, Ori, and this one. It really kind of reminds me of The Last of Us. In The Last of Us, I loved the story, but didn't really care for the gameplay. I did enjoy the gameplay more in this one, and I think that's because I prefer a mouse and keyboard for aiming. You are supposed to stealth around, but a lot of times it was just easier to take everyone out. And while Amicia, the character you control for the majority of the game, is easily killed, the game gives you a lot of tools to take anyone down. I thought the ending was a little rushed, but overall the story was really good.
Shantae, Half-Genie Hero.
Shantae is a nice mix of action-adventure, platforming, and a touch of metroidvania. You select stages, but each stage has sections that can only be reached when you've learned certain dances. These dances transform Shantae into different animals that have unique abilities you can use to traverse the map or get through obstacles. I'd never heard of this series until I saw it on the Switch, but apparently it's been around for quite a while. Fun gameplay, lots of interesting characters, different modes for replayability, and a better story than you might expect. Golf Story. When this first came out, I thought I heard people saying it's really good even if you don't care for golf. So for some reason, I thought that meant it wasn't really a golf game. Like, the story would revolve around golf, but the gameplay would be something else. And I was wrong. Golf Story is indeed about golf, with gameplay that involves golfing. That being said, it was only a little frustrating. I'm not a fan of golf. I know nothing about golf. The gameplay basically involves lining up the shot, hitting A to set the power, and hitting A again to center the shot. You can go deeper if you want, but that wasn't for me. This one's got over-the-top characters and a pretty humorous story. I did try Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team because of the Switch remake coming. I thought that one looked really good, but for some reason I just couldn't get into it, which is weird. I really like roguelike games like this, kind of like Azure Dreams way back when, and more recently the Chocobo Dungeon series. But this one, yeah, I just couldn't do it. So now we're all caught up, actually a little ahead now. We'll see how long that lasts. This is not how I envision this going, and it's definitely not how it will be in the future. Each game should have had its own video, but I think I've decided I want to stick with RPGs for the most part. So, looking forward, Final Fantasy VII Remake is out, but I think I'm gonna wait and try to dodge the spoilers. Gonna finish up Dragon Quest XI, then go into like a critics versus nostalgia video or battle love. something else I'm working on. Anyway, there's more coming. Again, thank you all for your time. Let me know what you're playing, and I'll see you next time.